Hi, my name is Antoine and I'm a shamanic healer and ceremonialist, and I wanted to make another video about shamanism and animism, still with the aim of helping people who maybe are new to this subject or are trying to find more information about this subject, or are a bit baffled by the variety of approaches and definitions, and really in the end, with kind of overload information, don't really know what is actually shamanism or is not, how it might help them or not, if it is a path for them or not. It's true in this day and age, with the amount of information out there, it's very difficult to not have a kind of overload of information where even kind of adequate information gets drowned into kind of all kinds of ideas and opinions about a certain subject. And it's no different with shamanism, especially also as the term shamanism, as it was used, you could say, by or it's been applied, coming from a certain culture, Siberian culture, it's been applied to a variety of different, you could say, spiritual approaches and healing approaches. That term now has evolved into all kinds of things, and it's blended also into a certain New Age approach, and it's giving all kinds of different things. So now it's very difficult to really find information that goes to the root of what it is. So I'm not professing to really give the definitive definition. I'm just offering maybe something that comes from my own experience, and also my own experience being rooted also in a deep respect for the traditional approaches of shamanism. Maybe go back to those roots to understand and feel what it's about. So in the previous video I spoke about shamanism and animism and maybe the distinction. It was a very brief introduction really to this, but hopefully it's given you a little bit of understanding about this. So I mentioned that shamanism is really very much a healing modality, whether it's the healing of an individual or whether it's the healing of a community, or the healing of a place or an environment in nature where it's been very disrupted. So shamanism intervenes in this, and as I said, it uses or it works in an animistic understanding that we are spirit beings interacting with other spirit beings, expressed through all kinds of bodies and colors in nature, trees and plants and clouds and the sun and moon and the river and sea itself and all the beings, and the animals and all the beings within the earth, within the rocks, and so on. So the shaman person, nowadays I really hesitate in using that word because it doesn't mean very much nowadays, in my opinion, because it means everything and anything. You could go on a weekend course and become a shaman in a weekend course, and is that a shaman? So really, to understand what it is, you need to go back to how those people within a community. So not everyone in those communities is animistic, you could say, but they're not all shamanistic. There's a person or a couple person that have a certain function, in the same way that you could say a doctor has a function, and a very specialized function. And those people will identify, they might be asked to help with something. Usually they will be asked to help with something. Sometimes they will identify something, an imbalance themselves, and notify the community. But so what a shaman does is basically, as I said, is use trance, other means also, divination, and various other means, but in the end they will use trance in order to go and fetch information in the background of things. You could say the spirit world, the world that precedes matter, that precedes even the expression of our own bodies or of the nature's bodies, and they will fetch information. And in certain cases, especially for example when we're speaking about healing from emotional, physical, psychological illnesses, they will work in that background with the help of allied spirits of theirs, so friend spirits with whom they have a long relationship and who are guides. So they will start working on that background in order to do some plumbing, you could say. So they restore. This is a joke, but really, it's in that world they do restore the integrity of certain things. They will re-establish connections, and of course, in that background, they will identify where the problem is, which might not be where things present in the external world. Someone comes with a problem, a physical problem, or psychological problem, or even a very disharmonious life, and you will identify, or the shaman will identify that, oh, the source of this is, if I go in the background, the source of it is something different, or that is not visible. And for example, that might be the presence of spirits, it might be certain forms of trauma, unresolved trauma. It could be difficulties with the ancestors, so ancestral burdens, transgenerational burdens that are being passed on. And then the shamanic healer will work by restoring balance with those beings. This is a very short video. I won't go too much into how all of this happens immediately, but that gives you an idea of how things work. So it's going into the backgrounds of things and working on those things to restore harmony here. And usually some form of illness or strong imbalance is like a contraction. Something where even trauma is like a contraction, where things are beyond, at one point got beyond our ability to process. And that contraction could create different things, a form of separation or dissociation. In any case, it's a contraction, or it can be experienced like a contraction, and helping with this is also restoring the flow into this through shamanic healing in that in the trance, in that background of things. Usually the shaman after that will give you also rituals, so you can you can integrate that information and take responsibility for some of that information and the work that's been done. And that is a very important part. It's a very misunderstood part in the new forms of shamanism, and basically in the Western approaches, many Western approaches of shamanism, this is a very important part. The ritual aspects also afterwards. So for example, I have people come and they will receive the healing, and I give rituals and they don't do the healing. They don't do the ritual, and this is a problem because this is a very important part. So in a traditional culture, people know that things are not passed on through words. Things are passed on especially through experience, so in the session, and through ritual. And so they won't pick and choose. They won't go, oh, I'm taking this healing, but the shaman said this, in Mongolia and Nepal, and I'm not doing this. No. doesn't make sense, you know, I can't understand what it's about. It doesn't work that way. Of course, in a Western context, it's important to also explain a little bit, um, um, so people can grasp a little bit. But the difficulty is also both the healing and the ritual are also about not about understanding with your mind, but doing. So the ritual in itself, if you do it, will provide you with both the integration of the healing or going further and your own experience within yourself through your emotions and understanding, um, your own experience of understanding. And I can explain or for hours what it's about, but that's not how it works. You have to do it, and then you'll understand. You won't understand what I'm telling you. You'll understand your own understanding through the ritual. So I hope this is helpful for now. There's probably a lot to develop on that, but that's a start about shamanic healing. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. If I can answer them, I will. Most likely through another video. Thanks to all, and may this be helpful, and blessings.